Hi there, welcome to Transponent Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2013 Avenger 33Bhs. We are just going to start off with the back of the unit. If you notice, you got your spare tire located right at the back, and then coming along the passenger side as well as both sides of the unit, you got your bumper cap pulling it out of place. Typically where you're going to want to store your sewer hose, we currently have a brand new one located inside the front compartment, which is why there's not one in here yet. We just recommend putting it in there after your first use, that way you keep as much smell out of the unit as possible. And then in this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you got your stabilizer jacks. So the way those work are, you hook up your 3/4 inch drive tool, which will also be located inside your front compartment. Run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just giving another 1/8 turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. But just a little note for these guys that they are stabilizing jacks. They're not leveling jacks, so don't try and use them like that. Otherwise, you do run the risk of bending them, and the same goes for if you're going to be using an impact to run them up or down. Got your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this, and you can plug right on in. But let's say you have the unit at home and you want to run your fridge. Your campsite only has 15 amp service, which is your standard household outlet. We include that 15 amp park adapter. Just keep in mind you're not going to be running your air conditioner off that. Really, it's just to run your fridge and your lights. Coming a little further ahead, you got your exterior shower. Opens up with your standard silver 751 key, which is going to come included with the unit. And then you do have your city water connection. So if you're out of site with service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines without the needing to run your water pump. Coming straight down below here, you got your 2 low point drains. So if you don't want the water going stale or stagnant, because you're leaving the unit for a while, or you're finished winterizing for the season, recommend cracking these guys open. You got your sewer outlet, twisting that cap off. Your sewer hose is going to have the same ear that this cap has. Once you thread that sewer hose on, you got your gray valve and your black valve. You always want to empty your black valve first. It's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, and then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. With the fresh water connection, taking that cap off, put the garden hose in there, turn it on. That's what your water pump draws off of. Right down below, you got the drain for it. Cracking that guy open, it's going to just drain whatever water's inside that tank out. Then you got your front compartment, opening up that guy, goes straight through to the other side. Battery located right up front. Then you got your 2 standard propane tanks up top here. Most of the time you can get what you need done just by opening up this cap for the purpose of the video. We'll just pull this right out of place. You get your 2 standard style propane tanks. Pretty much just like home, counterclockwise all the way and slowly to open up the flow of propane to the unit. You got your selector valve right at the top here. With it pointed this way, you'll be drawing off this tank. If you were to point it to that tank, you're going to start drawing off that tank. And inside this side, you got your stabilizer jack tool over here, which I've already told you about. And then you do have your standard service, which comes included with the unit. That's going to include that 10-foot water hose, 15-foot water hose, 10-foot sewer hose, some other miscellaneous goodies, including your 15 amp park adapter. A little further down the unit here, that's your service port for the hot water heater. Opening up that guy. Whenever you first get to your campsite, always giving that pressure relief valve a pull. There should be a shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's full. I currently have the tank drained, ready for you to pick up, so that's why there's no water coming out of there. And then you got a 1-inch drain bolt right down here at the bottom, 1-inch socket to take that guy off. Up top, you do got your range hood vent. So whenever you're traveling, you're going to want to leave these clamps down so you're not getting any excess dust inside the unit. Whenever you get to your campsite, opening that guy up so that you can evacuate all those fumes as you're making them. Power outlet, you got your fridge service port, not much you need to worry about there. Furnace exhaust, whenever that's on, it's going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. Now for the best part, we can take a step on that side. Take your assist handle, pushing it up, pulling it 90 degrees. It's going to lock into place. That'll allow you to open up your door. Then you can fold down your stairs. So you're just having to twist these two blue handles. That's going to allow you to fold down your stairs towards you. Taking a step over to the side, first thing you notice off on the right is that fire extinguisher, which is just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. Up on the wall here, first light switch, it's going to do your one interior light so that you can see what you're doing. Then you do have a switch that isn't hooked up. You got your awning control, pushing and holding that out. The awning's going to start making its way out. Once fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. Unfortunately, today we don't have enough room to make it that far. But now, if it were to start raining, you'll take any arm, front or rear, push in, and you can tighten up this clamp. Making sure you tighten that up real good. It's going to hold its own. It's going to now allow water to roll off the cover. If you like that angle better, because it's going to allow for more shade underneath, you do the same thing with the front arm. Just making sure that before you ever bring your awning in, you're always making sure you're holding this and loosening these guys back off so that they can go to their natural position for when you bring it back in. Then it's just as simple as hitting the awning in button. The awning's going to start rolling in, and once it contacts the side of the trailer, the motors are automatically going to cut out. Next, you do have your main slide out control. Before we go showing you how to use it, just always being mindful of what's on either side of the slide, inside and out. The reason I say inside is because sometimes things tend to shift during travel, so always making sure you don't have anything caught in between the slide outs. And of course on the outside, making sure you have enough room to go all the way out, which unfortunately today we don't have enough for the main slide to go all the way out, but you're just holding that down button. Once the slide out reaches its full extension, you're going to hear the motors wind up and click, and then you can let off the button. So unfortunately today that is all the room we have to go out with the slide out. But now we can go over the back slide outs, which we do have enough room to go all the way out with. Like I said, all the other lights in the unit are on their own center push buttons. Now coming to your back slides, again, just making sure what's on either slide, pushing and holding the out button, and they're going to start making their way out. Same thing as the front. And always just trying to run one slide at a time, that way you're not running too much power through the system. Then you can do your second slide. Again, just holding the button, and then as soon as you hear the clicking, you're going to let off the button. And there you go. So now we're just going to make our way over back to the front. So that is it for that. Right here, you do get access to these 4 screws. That's holding in a false panel. That's going to give you access to your water heater for winterization, for bypass valves. Taking a step on into the bedroom, it's pretty simple. It's your standard bedroom. You got household style blinds, pretty simple. You pull it one way and pull up, it's going to unlock it, allowing them to go up. You pull it the other way, it's going to allow it to go down. Storage all around, just always, of course, making sure you're mindful of drains, water lines, and that sort of thing whenever you're using storage. Coming to your entertainment center, pretty standard, just like home. You got your speaker set up here. The B speakers aren't hooked up to anything, but your A is going to be your interior, your C is going to be your exterior. You got your TV. It is on a real cool swivel mount. You pull the pin out. It's going to allow you to spin that right around, so you can switch it over to the bedroom in case you want to watch in the bedroom. And then it's just as simple as swinging it back this way to bring it back into your living room. Always just making sure whenever you're done, locking this back into place, especially if you're about to be traveling, because if you don't, you do run the risk of damaging some things, so just be mindful of that. You got your LP detector right here on the ground. Because you're equipped with propane, you got to have this in. If it ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane and open up some windows and vents to ventilate things out a little bit. And it is also very sensitive to cleaning chemicals, so if you're ever cleaning around it and you hear it start going off, use your best judgment. Typically, that's going to be that. Got your sink with hot and cold water. Microwave, pretty much just like home. Range hood, always recommend running the range hood whenever you're running the stove. That way you're evacuating those propane fumes so they can't build up as bad. Going over the stove quickly, just gonna make a few notes about propane. Whenever you're trying to light your stove, sometimes it can take a while to purge all the air out of the lines. So when you turn your propane system off, it allows air into the system. So sometimes it can take a few minutes to purge all the air out. So whenever you first get to your campsite, if you've had your propane system off and you turn it on, I always recommend trying to fire up the stove first thing. It's the quickest, easiest way to purge all the air out of the lines. Because if you go to fire something like your water heater, furnace, or fridge, they only try to light themselves a few times before they're going to throw a fault code. And whenever you are purging that propane, when you turn it over to the high/light option, always making sure you're hitting that sparker every few seconds so you don't have any buildup of gas, no minor little explosions. It does fire up right away. Like I said, I had the propane system running earlier, so it did fire up pretty quick, but if you had it off for a while, it allows air into there, so just be mindful of that. Lighting the stove, you're going to need a lighter of some sort. Turn the knob over to the high pilot option, pushing, holding it in. Go with your lighter over to that back orifice there. It's then going to ignite your pilot. Once your pilot can hold its own, you can let off the button, turn it up to your desired temperature, and it does fire right on up. Just going inside this little cabinet here, opening up this guy. Again, more access to your water heater for winterization. The pump is on the other side of it as well to get that bypass hose for winterization. In the slide out area, lights on their own center push buttons. This does turn out into a bed. It's just like your standard household style, pull out couch style bed. Taking the cushions off, it's going to allow you to pull that and fold it out. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way for the main living space and bed and back bedroom. They just kind of sit where you leave them. Whenever you're running your air conditioner, you have a few different options. You can run these louvers open, in which case it'll dump all its air into the main living space, or you can close them off and it will move its air through the ceiling ducting we have throughout. And the furnace is going to move all its air through the floor portals we have throughout the unit. The furnace does only have one fan speed. You got your fridge, power button to turn it on. Whenever this button is flush, you're on auto, so it's going to first search for shore power. Once shore power is taken away, it'll automatically switch over to gas. If you want it to run solely on gas, you just have to depress that button and it's going to light on gas. Check light ever comes on, just letting you know that it failed to light on gas. Again, if you haven't purged your propane system, you can always try relighting it. You just have to turn it off, give it a few minutes, and then try turning it back on. You get your freezer at the top, fridge down below. Temperature control is just up in this fin. The higher you slide it up, the colder it's going to get. Coming to my right, you got your thermostat for the unit. Pretty simple, up or down at any time to change what you want your room temperature to be. Whenever you have the fan mode on auto, it's an on-demand system, so it's going to kick the air conditioner in and out as needed. And same goes for the furnace. If you have the fan on full time, on either high or low, it's going to run that fan consistently. It's not going to turn off. With this mode button in the middle, it's obviously off. If you turn it over to heat, it's going to fire up the furnace, which does run off propane. Whenever you fire up the furnace, it does run for an additional 3 minutes after you turn it off to allow itself to cool down. Turning it over to the cool, it's going to kill the furnace and fire up the air conditioner. And again, if you have it in that auto setting, it's just going to kick out as soon as your room hits its desired temperature. In your slide dinette area as well, if you have some extra guests aside from the couch, you can take these pulls from underneath the table, stick your tabletop on its ledges, stick your center cushions to fill it in, and you can have another sleeping space in case you needed it. You do have a fire exit located right here. You're just having to pull those two handles up. It's going to allow that window to pop right open. Taking a step on into the bathroom, light switches on your right. Got your max air cover above your head. Twisting that guy open, it's already got a vent lid on there. Controls are on this side here, so you can decide whether it's sucking in air or sucking out air, and you can change your different fan speeds. hot and cold water, sink and shower, nice big shower. On the wall, you got your main GFI plug right here at the bottom. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd look. You got test in the bottom, reset in the middle. If you ever have an outlet, again, just checking that. Got your monitor panel system, so pushing the button will give you the corresponding level. And then your water pump switch, which of course draws out of your fresh tank. And then you can either fire up the water heater on either gas or electric. If you do fire it up on gas, the water heater is going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this fault light's going to stay on. At that point, you have to turn this switch off, wait about 30 seconds to a minute, and then try relighting it. Again, it could just be a purging issue, or you can just fire it up on electric, just always making sure you have water in there if you do fire it on electric, because you can burn out that probe quite quickly. Last but not least, we are in the bunk room. Lights are all on their own center push buttons, tons of storage all throughout. Another dinette in case you wanted to fold that down into another bed. You got a bunk up top. Storage all throughout. Right here in the doorway, you got your fuse and breaker panel. Whatever breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it, and you have all your corresponding fuses on your right. That is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.